Okay, hello guys, and welcome to the very first in the series. This is Chris and this is Kira, and this is two of the people behind Newcastle Supporters Worldwide. Now, with the Facebook page, we often ask everyone's thoughts. We're going to try to start this to give our thoughts on a lot of the topical things that's happening in Newcastle. So, we're going to say hello to the crowd first of all.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Nice to see
There
you
we
all.
go. So it's been a very, very busy summer for Newcastle, even though there's only been one signing so far. So what we should touch on first is probably some of the names that Newcastle are linked with and kind of go through one of them at a time. There's obviously a lot to go through here as well. So almost rapid fire a little bit. The first one, which has just come out today, is Ramsdale.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Not as good as Trafford. I'll
Mm-hmm.
start with that. I think he's a bit. I'd more consider him a backup option of a goalkeeper than like a first choice. So I think we should be going for someone a little bit better, but it looks like it's going to get done. So I guess just get behind him if he does join.
Yeah, I mean, the fans in the comment section very much not really going for this. I
Yeah.
hadn't realised he was actually linked with Sunderland a couple of weeks ago, and the Sunderland fans, from what I hear, are not too happy when his name was linked, surprisingly, because for their, calibre, you would have expected he would be perfect
Yeah.
for them. But if the Sunderland fans aren't into him, you would imagine, why are we, a Champions League club, kind of happy to settle for someone like Ramsdale? I personally think there's not a lot of difference between him and Nick Pope. I mean, I'm presuming he would be coming in to be the new number one. It seems Pope is not really convinced with Eddie Howe. It seems obviously when he went for Trafford, you would imagine, because of the figures quoted for that, where it was about 30, 40 million, he's
Yep.
coming in to be number one, and you'd presume it's possibly the same with Ramsdale as well.
Another English goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see the goalkeeper kind of merry-go-round going round? Because obviously Burnley are looking for a keeper. Nick Pope used to play for Burnley. Do you see, even though there's not really any definite link, do you see that could happen?
I don't see Nick Pope going this summer, personally, in my opinion. I think personally that we should keep Martin Dubravka because I think when he stepped in last season as well, I had Dubravka over Pope every single time. Every single time. He was solid every time he come in. And Pope's so shaky on the ball, so shaky. You can't trust him. And like going into a Champions League, I don't trust Nick Pope being number one at all. No way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the reason why it seemed more going for Trafford was a lot of ball distribution and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's something Nick Pope really doesn't have. So you've mentioned a couple of his weaknesses. One of the things for me is his distribution when he's got the ball in his
100%.
hand is just not really what you'd expect. I thought this summer, if we were going to replace him, it would be someone with a kind of continental kind of flair that could literally fling it up a little bit like Edison, a little bit, who actually is available. I can't believe there was, I think it was £3 million it was being told for Galatasaray or something. I can't believe he's not being valued at 20, 30, 40 million. I know he's had a bad season at Man City, but
he's still one of the best goalkeepers out there, though. 100%. Ramsdale will be better on the ball than Pope, but I don't think that's hard because there's not many people out there that play in goal that are as bad as Nick Pope on the ball, to be honest.
yeah. So, I mean, goalkeeping situation, we'll kind of see how that goes. I could personally see the Ramsdale situation progressing really fast in the next 24, 48 hours. I think that could be done because we touched about this before. It seems like it's a deal that kind of suits everyone in the party. It's going to suit Ramsdale. He's going to be back in the Premier League. He's going to be playing Champions League, which I'm presuming up until 24 hours ago, he probably thought was never, ever going to happen this season. It's going to suit Burnley. It's going to suit Southampton, rather, because they're going to get a big wage off the books, and it's obviously going to sort Newcastle out because it sorts the keeper out that we obviously need and Eddie Howe looks for. So next we've got the striker situation. And the striker situation, there's a ton of different names banded around. I think, judging from the comments in the Newcastle Supporters Worldwide Facebook page, it seems to be Sesko, the one that Newcastle fans are all kind of clamouring for. Do you see that happening? Because it's kind of Newcastle doing exactly what we've done all summer and not really meeting the asking price, and then it could be another club comes in. We've seen Man U linked. How do you see that going?
Well, I think we just need to put a bid in because, in my opinion, he is the best option on the market right now. There's no other. Everyone else is being snapped up. Everybody. And the only other striker that I would prefer over Sesko is Isak, and Isak wants to go. So for me, Sesko's the best option to replace Isak, 100%, and I want it to happen.
Yeah,
Really,
I
really
do. I
want it.
personally think there's a big drop off with some of the other names that we'll touch on in a
100%,
second, and Sesko. I personally think if we miss out on Sesko, I think, like you say, a lot of the big names have kind of already been tapped up already. We're a little bit late to the table. I think if we can't get Sesko in, I really wouldn't sell Isak. I would literally, even if he's going to be a little unhappy and you're only going to get 80% of the normal Isak, I would take that and do a deal if it still wants to be done in January or the summer, where other strikers are going to become a little bit available, because the other names, including Wissa and stuff like that, who we'll touch on next, I personally see him as a Callum Wilson replacement rather than
I
a
agree.
main number 9 for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And with Sesko as well, even if it's being reported that we're only going to put a bid in if Isak leaves. But in my opinion, if Isak doesn't leave this summer, he will next summer. And he will at some point. So, and you have to be quick with deals like this because Man U will get him if we don't. So regardless if Isak stays or goes, I still would go in for him regardless.
Could it be, and obviously time's going to tell, when we're not going to know this for definite either way, but could it be that if Isak doesn't go this transfer window, Liverpool might have to get someone else, and if they get someone else, maybe they can't return from him in January and the summer? Do you reckon that might be a possibility?
He wants Liverpool though, doesn't he?
He does. His heart seems set on it. I mean, he's done everything but pretty much come out and say it. His agent's kind of come out. He's leaked things to his agent, kind of thing. So he doesn't want Saudi. He wanted to leave for a pay rise. Saudi have come in and said, we're going to give you 600,000, and he wants Liverpool. So it's obviously not just about the money for him.
Yeah, I was really disappointed as well because as soon as the season was finished, it said that like Isak was going to stay if we got Champions League football, and he's not staying. I'm so like upset and disappointed about it, but it's football. You have to move on.
I mean, that was the concern. I remember on the whole lead up to the last few games of the season, obviously it was looking like we were going to get second at one stage. It was that close. But I always did think along with a lot of Newcastle fans, if we did miss out on Champions League, it would be questions for some of these players like Bruno, like Tonali, like Isak.
100%.
The fact that we've got it, firstly, it's a bit frustrating because not a lot of action's happened in the transfer window yet. I know there's still time and stuff like that, but a lot of the early moves have already happened and stuff like that. It is being a little bit frustrated. With Wissa, the £50 million price tag for someone of his age, what's your thoughts on the price tag? Because I think that's far too much for someone like that. We should be getting much better value.
I think we will get him for less because he's pushing for the move. I think Brentford can't keep him if he's not going to show up to training and he's not going to play. They have to get rid of him. You can't keep someone like that in your squad. And I think he wants to move. So I'm sure we'll put in, what was it, 25, 30 million pound bid originally.
I think that's reasonable, in truth. Yeah. I know I'm coming in from the Newcastle side of it, but for someone of his age and stuff like that, I think that's very reasonable.
I'd say maybe 35 at the most for me, personally. 50 million's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I mean, he had one standout good season last season, but, and again, he's a Callum Wilson replacement. He's not going to be first choice. Well, he might at this rate, but hopefully not.
Yeah, you mentioned it there. It might just be worth touching on that as well. You mentioned you don't want to keep an unhappy player and stuff like that. He might refuse to play this, that, and the other. Do you see Isak doing any of that? Because obviously all we're getting is little tidbits so far. It seems he does want to go away. He doesn't seem like that sort of character. He seems very happy at Newcastle. He gets on with all the players. I don't think he's going to do it, but you obviously don't know how the transfer negotiations and what's happening behind the scenes are going.
I think if Liverpool put a bid in, he'll probably want the move and demand the move, but I don't think he'll be one of those players that refuses to play if he does stay. I think Eddie Howe will get him in the right mindset for the new season, but I just can't see a world where he's going to stay now. I just don't. And with Diaz now done deal to buy in as well, so that opens the doors perfectly.
Yeah, and they're going to have money. Obviously, one of their players tragically passed away and stuff like that. Just looking at it from it, these footballers are insured. They're basically going to get almost a full transfer value if you look at the business side of things. So that not only are they missing a key player, but obviously that gives them a little bit more money to kind of work with. The amount of money that they've spent this summer, personally, I've got them nailed on for the Premier League. I think they're... Especially if they get Isak, this is going to be Liverpool's Premier League for the next few seasons. I think 100%. The drop-off at Man City, I haven't really seen anything from them in the transfer window that makes me think they're going to challenge for number one. Arsenal, they've got the striker and stuff like that, but I just think Liverpool are blown away everyone. I mean, I would probably liken it to Chelsea quite a few seasons ago when they had all of their key players come in, like Drogba, Cech, Robin. This is almost as good a window, and considering the PSR restrictions, I think this is probably one of the best transfer windows that a Premier League team 100%. Can expect 100%. Now or going forward.
and getting Isak as well, and then they even want a centre back after that. They've like basically done a rebuild after already winning the Premier League. It's going to be really hard to catch up. We're even further behind than we were before, and considering how we've performed in this market as well, it puts us even further behind. And that's not just Liverpool that we're being put behind there. It's Man City, it's Chelsea, even Man United signing in Burmo and Cunha. Like we were going after them as well, and now they've took them away from us, and we've only got Alanga at the moment. So
yeah, we're ill prepared at the minute because
yeah,
obviously going into a Champions League qualification, we've seen it a couple of seasons ago. You get decimated with injuries, you have fatigue, you have all these extra games count and build up. And if we haven't got the squad to rotate, it's very concerning.
our depth is even worse now. It's even worse than it was the first time because we haven't brought in the replacements for these players that we got rid of. Even Sean Longstaff. I'd rather have Sean Longstaff than nobody.
Well, Sean Longstaff went out, and then Paqueta, as seen, is linked with us. 30 million. His value's absolutely freefall from 100 million it was from one stage. Not so long ago, it was Pep who was interested in him and fetching him in. Obviously, there's the link with Bruno and Joelinton. You could have the full Brazilian midfield rotating with Tonali and the promising Miley. What do you think of him?
100% would have him. 100%. He was linked with us in the past as well, and he's best friends with Bruno, best friends with Joelinton. Get him in. I don't know why we're not all over that, to be honest.
30 million. I don't know if it's just a paper kind of figure where they've come up with that, but if that is the case and they're interested in for 30 million, I don't know how there is not a queue, because it's not just us. Any Premier League club should be all over that. He's got the quality. He's proven it in the Premier League. He was in a very underperforming West Ham squad and stuff. He probably will want to be away. He's obviously had the ban over his head. He wasn't even picked, I think, for quite a few of the last games of the season because it was messing with his head and stuff like that. Maybe it is that he's just given up on West Ham and he does want to be away. Because we've got the lure of his best friends, get him here. They'll be performing on the pitch. They'll be coming forward to training, looking forward to it every single day. It's the perfect setup for Newcastle, I think.
I agree. He would absolutely love it. Playing with Joelinton and Bruno in the middle as well. He'd love it. And Champions League football.
The other one that I've got here is Jackson. Now, you'll know because you see the comments as well. He seems to be universally hated by our fans. Now, I don't know if it's just because people obviously look last season. Obviously, he had a bit of fallout with Newcastle in the game. I don't know if it's a case of people just not really watching how they play and stuff like that, and not really understanding the potential that he possibly has. He's got another year's experience in the Premier League, and maybe you can't see that he might develop. Or if it's the fact that the absolute crazy transfer fee that's being mentioned, because the number of £80 million is being bandied about. They've got Delap, they've got Pedro, they've got about another 5 strikers as well. I don't know how they can quote such a high figure, and I don't know if it's maybe that price that's putting a lot of Newcastle fans off, or if it's the fact that they just think he's a terrible player.
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. I think with Jackson is he has the qualities, but he just doesn't have the attitude, and he's not quite there yet. Like Isak, he kind of just isn't there yet, but Isak is. He has similar qualities to him though. In a way, he's like similarly built as well in the way that he plays on the ball and everything. But it's just like his attitude. I'm sure he got like 3 red cards in a couple of games. Bizarre. It's just his attitude that I would worry about.
Yeah, if we can get him on a little bit of a cut price deal, when I say cut price, I mean, they're not going to sell him for nothing, but maybe 30, 40 million, do you reckon that would see a lot of Newcastle fans think, yeah, we could do that?
30 million. I'd take him for 30 million.
Would you have him coming in as a second striker in that case?
That's what I was just about to say. He still wouldn't be first choice for me, but it's really hard to replace Isak. It'll be really, really hard. And I only see Sesko being the man to come in and do that, to be honest.
I personally don't think, and this is going to upset a lot of Newcastle fans, I honestly class Isak as world class, and I don't think we will be able to get a world class replacement. I honestly think it's teams like Liverpool, it's teams possibly like Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid who can get these world class players. I think if we're going to sell them, we're going to have to get a really, really good striker in, but we're not going to get a world-class player. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to really tactfully use that money, because we've seen examples, especially with Tottenham and Gareth Bale, and we've seen Coutinho, and a lot of people go for big transfer fees, and sometimes the money is invested really well and it sets the club up for the next few years. Sometimes it's absolutely dreadful and you've just lost the Gareth Bale and stuff like that. Personally, I think if this could be make or break for Newcastle in terms of this transfer window. If we do sell him, you're talking you need to firstly get him replaced with someone really good quality, and then we need to increase the quality of the bench and really make the Newcastle team a great first 11, which we've got, and also a great bench. And this is probably the best way to do it with the PSR restrictions. As much as obviously no one wants to see Isak go.
It just depends on how we invest that money. That's the only thing.
And that's the thing. And at the minute, this is the first window that I've kind of, my confidence is being struggled and strained a little bit, because before this, every single signing Eddie Howe's made and the board's made, fully behind everything that they've touched has turned to gold. But for some reason, this transfer window, I don't know if it's a lack of planning. I don't know if it's the fact that Mitchell's gone. But even the fact if Mitchell had gone, surely there should have been stuff in place. We would know who we kind of want. I don't know why we've not been really ruthless. Put a decent bid in, got it. Because what's happening is it's a combination that we're underbidding, and then maybe if you're the player on the receiving end of it, do Newcastle really want us because they're kind of haggling over a little bit? They're not really, being decisive.
Low balling a lot for players.
Or the low balling, and it's a case of you're allowing other teams to come in. Obviously, if you put a bid in nowadays, all the papers are going to find out about it, and then that alerts all the other big clubs. So really what we should have been doing, and that's what's missed out on almost everyone other than Ekitike, who I think really we were looking to try to get that close fast. It was just the fact that Liverpool got alerted to it really fast and were decisive. I don't know what's going on, but it's not really encouraging, and it is a little bit cause for concern, the fact that what we are now, the 28th, still plenty of time, but it's not been great so far.
Well, we need a lot. We need a goalkeeper. We need a centre-back. We need 2 strikers, in my opinion. And at the minute, we've got nobody. And we're not moving quick on anything either. That's the only problem. So...
I mean, one of the things we were talking about that I noticed Botman picked up an injury during the last game. Well, maybe injuries might be too hard of the word. He had a groin pull, a tight groin. So maybe it's just something that he's pulled out with. Maybe it's something that needs assessing. But obviously, Newcastle fans, with the injury record of Botman, it just makes you think, oh, hopefully it's not another bad injury for him.
Yeah, it puts more stress on us needing a centre-back as well. You can't depend on Botman, who's injury-prone. You can't depend on Shaw. You can't depend on these players who have picked up injuries in the past. We need a centre-back. We need depth. And at the minute, we haven't got it.
Yeah, and I personally think we need a bit of youth in, because when you look at some of the players like Byrne and Shaw and stuff like that, they're getting older, they're carrying a hefty weight load. And when we go in the Champions League, Eddie Howe doesn't rotate like he didn't do much last season. That's a lot of pressure to be putting on 30-plus-year-old legs and stuff, especially in central defence. So with Botman, obviously full of promise, you've seen exactly what he could do. A lot of the Newcastle fans, that's what's crushing the fact that he spent so many games and months and weeks and stuff like that getting treatment when you know how much of an impact he could make. So we need that youth signing. So hopefully if we do go out, which I presume we will, we need someone who's got legs and youth that can just complement a lot of the aging defenders.
Yeah. Botman has the potential. It's just his injuries, because how many games has he missed since he joined us? He spent more time out injured than what he's played, in my opinion. I could be wrong there, but it seems that way. So we need to start bringing in youth in the defence full stop, because, I mean, Lascelles, Byrne, Shaw, these are all like 30 plus. We've got nobody upcoming. We've got nobody to step in when they're done. And this window would be perfect for that too.
The one person that we've got in, which is probably worth talking about, is Alanga. So he scored. He's off and running straight away. It was a bit of a contentious goal. I'm not sure it was exactly the smartest finish in the world, but it doesn't matter. It counts. It went in. What's your thoughts on him? Because obviously going into the season, we've obviously had Murphy, who was playing out of his skin last season. It was the best performances I've ever seen from him. Is Alanga going to walk in and take his slot? Is it going to be a case of it rotates? How do you see the right wing going next season?
I think it's going to rotate. Murphy's definitely not going to make it easy for his spot to be taken up. He was brilliant against Arsenal, by the way. Both of them were. Alanga reminds us a little bit of Maxi. Like, he's really quick and like fast pace on the ball. He's very similar to Maxi, but I'm just hoping he has a bit more end product than what he did. But I think it would be unfair to take Murphy's spot straight away, because he's not done anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I don't see why you wouldn't switch them around with the amount of games that we're going to have next season. And I think good selection to choose from as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think Alanga will take the slot. It's just a case of if not when, and whether it's you give the start of the season to Murphy and ease Alanga in. I think he's signed to be the number one
Yeah,
right wing.
100%. It's just
Yeah,
you can't. It would be unfair to take Murphy's spot, if you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
Alanga would have to earn that spot, and Murphy would have to sort of slow down on the way that he was playing last season. Because we're seeing it with Miggy. It reminds us of Miggy. He had a purple patch, a really, really good season. He was like one of the best players in Europe at one point. But then the season after, he sort of fell off again. So we'll see what happens with Murphy if he keeps up his performances. But we'll see.
yeah. And obviously, we've got a while for the window. I do personally feel very, very sorry for Eddie Howe because his
100%.
quotes have been doing the rounds. The fact that he said he wanted business to be done early.
Yep.
He said he knows that the big players and stuff like that don't wait until the deadline day. One of the ones that I personally would have loved to seen is Delap. Just not as in like
Yeah.
was he going to be the main striker and stuff, but for 30 million, that would have been fantastic. Is there any names that haven't really been banded around that you think, oh, that would be a good one for Newcastle?
Other than Paqueta, not really. Like, not anyone like off the top of my head. But we haven't even been in for him. Like, it hasn't even been a link to him this summer. But I think we really should be going in for him because of his price tag. Like, it's bizarre that we haven't, in my opinion. And I think there might be a rumor come out at some point in the last few weeks. There has to be. There has to be. I can't understand why we're not all over that.
I mean, there's a couple of players for me. I mean, and most of them are at Crystal Palace. I honestly thought
Oh,
what's
Mateta.
happening at Brentford would have happened at Crystal Palace. I thought there'd be
Yeah.
a big fire sale, especially when they didn't end up controversially not getting the European qualification.
Yeah.
That Mateta is younger than Wissa. He's to me, he's a more of a complete striker. And he's probably going to be cheaper. I don't know why we're not really going for someone like that who's Premier League proven. You're not taking a risk and stuff like that. And then you've got loads of players at West Ham. I know we're not really necessarily in the market for a big money midfielder, but that Wharton who plays for Crystal Palace, fantastic.
I'm sure Liverpool waiting for him as well.
Well, as soon as we said that we're in, they probably would be.
Yeah, he's a very sought after player, Adam Wharton, but he's brilliant. He is brilliant, to be fair. Very good.
Yeah. It's going to be very good. It's going to be very entertaining to watch. Like I say, for us only making one signing, it's been a hectic couple of weeks to kind of cover. There's been stories left, right, and centre. Obviously, Isaac's national news that's taken over everything. It's on TalkSport every 5 minutes. It's not really calming down. It's still going to go until the end of the transfer window. The only thing that I kind of do hope is whatever does happen, it needs to be starting to get happening. If it is going to happen, let it go.
Can't leave it the last minute. Definitely not.
Cannot. It's going to be the same as what happened with Andy Carroll. I remember we sold him on transfer deadline day. Literally had no replacement or whatever, and the squad is just totally weaker as a result. So if he's going to go,
yeah, this is what I was saying yesterday. We shouldn't be accepting a bid unless we've got someone lined up to come in, because then we're in trouble. We'll have Asula as our first choice striker. You have to have somebody lined up or already through the door before you accept a bid for Isak. And it has to be right for the club, like Eddie Howe said. It has to be like 150 million minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. And one of the things that it links to what you're saying, and it's as well there, is it's not necessarily about when we get rid of them. The most important thing is we do have stuff lined up, because if we don't have if we don't have the transfers lined up and then we sell them, every club is going to know we've got 150 or whatever he goes for in our back pocket, plus whatever we would have had anyway. We've already seen Newcastle put 70 million, I think it was, for Ekatike bid down. So any agent will know we're going to have 150 million or 120, whatever he goes for. And then we're going to have at least 70 million. So they know we're money bags. We're in no position to negotiate. So before we kind of do sign off on the Isak thing, we need to almost have it simultaneously signed off where, right, okay, that's done straight away. And then even though we will be going for defenders and keeper and stuff like that, where we probably will get exploited a little bit, it's that striker, especially when you see Jackson for 80 million, Wissa for 50 million. You know the market for strikers at the minute is absolutely crazy. And then if you put on top of the fact that they know we're going to have money, we're just potentially going to get rinsed and get no good deal.
You know, it's kind of crazy that you've just said Wiss is available for 50 million, but you could get Sesko for 65. That's only 15 million more, and he's much better of a striker. The market is crazy nowadays. actions and stuff.
The foreign market is so much better value. It's
Yeah,
just a case of, are you willing to take a risk on someone that hasn't done it in the Premier League?
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it boils down to. Because when we look at goalkeepers and stuff like that, we touched on Ramsdale, we touched on Trafford. I personally think it was 40 million. I know he's went for cheaper and stuff like that because of the release clause, but 40 million I thought for Trafford was far too much. And if you go to Spain, if you go to Germany, surely these scouts could be looking. And if you've got that much to play around with, you can get a much, much better caliber player.
100%. 100%, I agree. And I think people are sort of just, especially Premier League clubs, sort of upping the price for other Premier League clubs as well. So that kind of doesn't help, especially with the Visa deal as well. Like £50 million is. I hope we don't pay that, mind. I really don't.
I can't believe. I mean, like I say, 35 I think is tops. Really, if even if we paid 40, I think that's a little bit too much, and we're not going to get value. I mean, this might be me who's kind of been under Mike Ashley's school of business and stuff like that. He's going to have no resale value at all. And when it comes to PSR, especially the generation that we're in now, you need to kind of squeeze every few million and stuff like that. If you're going to spend 50 million on someone and know you're not, he's probably going to be here for the rest of his career, you maybe get 5 million when he hits 33 or something like that. It's not really good business. I don't see how you're going to get £50 million worth of business out of him compared to someone who's younger with a better resale value and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we need a younger striker, even if we get 2 young strikers. I know they're probably looking at a experienced Premier League striker in terms of Visa, and again, like you said though, Mateta, he's Premier League proven, and he's younger. Good option.
It's going to be an exciting few weeks. Make sure, everyone, if you stay tuned to the Newcastle Supporters Worldwide Facebook page, all of the different socials, but the Facebook page is the big one. We'll be bringing you daily, multiple, almost hourly, exactly what's going on and stuff like that. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing more videos this on the run up to the season and throughout the season as well. Let us know your thoughts if you enjoyed it, what your thoughts are, and what you think to everything that we've covered as well on the transfer fees, on who's being fetched in, and what your expectations are for the rest of the transfer window as well. There we go, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, bye.